Briarbinds are exotic Warlock gloves added to Destiny 2 as part of Season of the Witch. These are perfect for Void Warlocks and allow you to control your Void Souls created when you lay down your rifts. Void Souls increase in damage, plus you can pick them up and redeploy them multiple times. So today I'm going to run through a Void Warlock build with Briarbinds. I'm going to go through the aspects, the fragments, the weapons, the mods, and show you how to create a devastating Void build that drains the life from all your enemies. Well, Briarbinds are powerful exotic gloves and they compete with Nezrak's Sin regarding Warlock's 4 Void build. So this is all down to the exotic perk, one with the Void, and that's where your Void Souls have a longer duration. They also gain escalating damage and durability as they defeat targets, and you can retrieve your Void Souls by interacting with them, allowing them to be redeployed. So paired with the right weapons and mods, this is a very good build. It's going to cause huge damage to opponents, and also through Devour you're going to be kept alive even longer. Okay, without further delay, let's check out the build in detail. So first of all, the Void subclass setup. So for our super, we're using a Nova Bomb Vortex. For the class ability, I'm using an Empowering Rift. And for my melee, I'm using the Pocket Singularity. And for the grenade, I'm using a Vortex Grenade. For the aspects, I'm using Child of the Old God, so cast your Rift to create a Void Soul. So this really is key to the build. When you damage a target with your weapon, your Void Soul flies to them and drains them, does damage and weakens them. When the target is being drained, you're granted grenade and melee energy if you're running a Healing Rift, or health if you're running an Empowering Rift, which we are doing in this build. Defeating a target is being drained by your Void Soul grants class ability energy. I'm also using Chaos Accelerant, and that really helps out with grenades. For example, using Vortex Grenades here, and this increases the size and the linger duration of the Vortex Grenades. For the fragments, I'm using Echo of Starvations, that is picking up a Void Breach or an Orb of Power, grants Devour. Echo of Instability, defeating targets with grenades grants volatile rounds to your Void weapons, always handy. Then Echo of Undermining, your Void grenades weaken targets. And paired with that, Echo of Harvest, defeating weakened targets creates an Orb of Power and a Void Breach. Next up, let's have a look at the exotic armor. So this, of course, is Briarbinds. They're exotic Warlock gauntlets, and it's got the perk One with the Void. Your Void Souls have a longer duration. They gain escalating damage and durability as they defeat targets, and you can retrieve your Void Souls by interacting with them, allowing them to be redeployed. So to get these exotic gauntlets, you can run a Legend or Master Lost Sectors solo when it's an Arms Day, or you can find the Vex Incursion event on Europa. So follow the Twitter account at VexNetAssistant, and you can find out when the next Vex Incursion event is running. Next up, let's have a look at the weapons. So first of all, in the kinetic slot, Riptide. It's a legendary fusion rifle, and it deals stasis damage with a rapid fire frame, and that has deeper ammo reserves, slightly faster reload when the magazine is empty. Auto-loading holster, Chill Clip would be a decent roll. I think Chill Clip is probably the most important perk here, and yeah, Riptide is one of my favourites. Really, really hard to take that out of my kinetic slot. So in the energy slot, I'm using a Graviton Lance. It's an exotic energy pulse rifle, and it's got the perk Black Hole, so second shot of the burst rips a hole through space-time, doing high damage and recoil with no fall-off. Then you got Cosmology, so kills with the weapon cause enemy targets to detonate and spawn void projectiles that track targets. Also, Graviton Lance benefited from a huge buff in PvE in Season 21. That was last season, so it's a really, really good energy weapon for any Void build. Finally then, for the weapons, I'm using Commemoration in the power slot. It's a legendary power machine gun with an adaptive frame. I mean, it's got well-rounded grip, it's reliable, and it's sturdy for PvE. Reconstruction and Rampage is a good roll. Reconstruction especially is really, really good. That's where the weapon slowly reloads itself over time up to double capacity. Rampage is also good on a PvE weapon. Boosts damage after a kill, and that stacks up to 3 times. Commemoration, you can find that from the Deepstone Crypt raid. And if you're interested in getting Graviton Lance, you can get that one from Zur. And Riptide, you can get that one from Lord Shaxx in the tower. Finally, for the build, let's have a look at the mods. For the head, I'm using Void Siphon, so rapid Void weapon final blows create an orb of power. For the arms, I'm using firepower. That is where your grenade final blows create orbs of power. You've got bolstering detonation, so grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a grenade. Next up, the chest mods. Font of endurance, you gain bonus resilience when you've got any armor charge, and your armor charge now decays over time. And emergency reinforcement, when your shields become broken, you gain temporary damage reduction. On the legs, I'm using innovation. Reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. And insulation reduces class ability cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. And finally, on your class item, powerful attraction. That automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. Then you've got bomber, so reduces your grenade cooldown when using your class ability. Okay, let's put it all together and have a look at the gameplay loop. So ideally, you want to have your void cell up as much as possible. And ideally, multiple void cells working at the same time. I've seen 2, 3, even 4 void cells all working together all at the same time. And that just means death and destruction all round for your enemies. So first of all, with the void setup, Child of the Old Gods is absolutely essential, as that gives you the void cell in the first place. And then, the combination of our fragments is going to help us get and maintain Devour. So Devour is a buff that lasts for about 10 seconds, and it grants 15% grenade energy and full health and shield recovery upon defeating a target. Defeating a target while Devour is active will extend its duration by a few seconds, and tougher enemies grant additional time. And the other things we're doing with our fragments as well are creating orbs and also weakening our opponents. First of all, let's have a look at that in a little bit more detail. So creating orbs. As I mentioned, the gameplay loop revolves around getting class ability energy as much as possible so we can deploy our void souls. So generating and picking up orbs helps speed up the whole gameplay loop. So defeating weakened targets create orbs through Echo of Harvest. Then you've got firepower, so your grenade final blows also create orbs. Then with the void siphon, we're creating orbs through void weapon kills. And then we've got those because we've got Graviton Lance and Commemoration. So that was creating orbs. Next up, we want to use the orbs. So once we've generated the orbs, we want to use them. So Insulation reduces the class ability cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. We're getting Devour whenever we pick up an orb of power. Using specific mods help with the orbs. So Innovation reduces grenade cooldown each time you pick up an orb of power. And more grenade kills means more orbs. And we're using Powerful Attraction as well to automatically collect orbs when using our class ability. And the final thing to do is just use your class ability a lot and put down that rift. So run around, pick up your void cell, and then just keep redeploying it over and over again. And it's loads of fun, something really, really different, and it really makes playing a void warlock an absolute joy. Well, I didn't think anything could compete with Nezarec Sin for void warlocks, but Briarbinds are really, really great fun. Definitely recommend this build for void warlocks. Well, let me know down in the comments what you think of the Briarbinds. It'd be really good to hear what you think, and let me know your favourite builds. Also, what I'll do is I'll put the build down there in the comments. I've got a dim link, so if you want to just skip straight to the build, you can check it out down there. Well, that is it today for this Briarbinds Void Warlock build in Destiny 2, and as always, thank you so much for watching or for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you real soon.